Hi everybody, welcome to this conference. Today we start talking about for something DevOps Association about for GIT and also another scopes around for DevOps side. So we start talking about for unlocking Agile efficiently DevOps Speedup with GIT. This is me, Jhonnatan Jill, or Johnny Pong. I'm a DevOps and SRE engineer at Loan. You can follow me on Twitter or X like at Jhonnatan24 or LinkedIn as Johnny Pong or Instagram as Jhonnatan240301 or in YouTube you can find my videos at Johnny Pong2. Let me share with you this little quote. Life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated by Confucius. That it's true because you start this journey for DevOps side for a complicated stuff, but when you grow in DevOps, you start to generate more complicated stuff, but more easily. So go ahead. That is our table of contents. Today we talking about for Agile, something related with DevOps, common concepts here related for sdlc and also BCS. How we can use BCS on DevOps, and we have prepared for you this a little demo for you. So start with DevOps and Agile. What is exactly Agile? For define Agile, we need to take a look for this part for the beginning side. The beginning side are related for waterfall, right? When we start with waterfall, we define how to waterfall works and how to generate this on a big scope, big requirements for the companies. So when these companies define these big requirements, we have also a big times. With these big times, we have a little customer feedback, and we generate a big releases for every this new feature that you can try to deliver for the teams and also for the companies. And you have these for independent teams. So you have for one side the development teams, for another side the QA teams, and also for the another side the business teams. And also these teams have not well communication, and they generate a lot of friction for the communication, and the communication is not easily when you start talking based on waterfall. For another part, we have the new age that is related for Agile. When we talk for Agile, we need to define exactly how to the interactive works mode for the companies is established, because you generate in a less scope the new features, and also you can address the new efforts for the same path and the same goal, but you split better these goals and how to you can and your team also generate these efforts. So you generate the granular requirements, you have small teams, you have fast customer feedback. That is pretty awesome because that reduces exactly this friction from the development and QA and business side, and you generate small and quick releases, right? Because we have small times, we have more granularity for the requirements, and also you generate this in a more easily way. So you enable for that exactly the part that we need to talk about, the Agile side, that is the team's collaboration, because you start with Agile for enable that. So what is the Agile manifesto's core values? We need to define exactly this, because the manifesto mentions to us that individuals and interaction over process and tools, right? For another one, customers collaboration over contract negotiation, working software over comprehensive documentation, and responding to change over following a plan. That is the core values for this Agile manifesto. And also we need to address our for the customers and also for the developments and QA and business teams need to address that. So let's continue with another. when we move for DevOps side, we base on Agile, right? Because we need exactly the company are currently all in this culture side. Because if the company doesn't have this culture, it's very hard to implement DevOps because we need to reduce this friction. But if the friction could be comes from the waterfall side, it's very hard to start to do this implementation for the companies. We comes to support exactly the interactive, the granular requirements, the small times, the fast customer feedback, the most and quick releases, and the collaboration, and etc. related for this. But we need exactly the agile are currently implemented on the company, or if doesn't, the implementation for DevOps will be in a wrong way. So based on DevOps, we define exactly these features or these core values for DevOps, that is columns. For one side, the culture that comes from the Agile, the another side that related for automation, and also how do we can use the automation tools and also the scripts for doing something for the sdlc, and also how do we can lean and we reduce exactly the perspective for the customers and how do we can impact in a bigger way this new feature for the company's values. So for another part, we need to share, because when we generate this new culture, we need to share exactly how to the culture will be involved with that. And also we need to measure, because if we don't have this measure, we don't have this new picture for the impact that we currently generated for the company and also how to impact the process. Let's move on to the second part that is related for the CDLC and also the BCS, and how to these are the biggest core values that we have currently, because we define here exactly how to the software development lifecycle are currently is, and how do we can comes to help this and move around from one side to another and start this software development lifecycle, right? For one side, we need to define exactly this requirements analysis that every company needs to start. And the second part are related for design, how do these requirements will be adapt or could be addressed this new effort for the company. That is part of the development team and also the QA team and the business intelligence team, and how to address this new path for. The other side are related for the implementation, but not exactly just how to the development team create a new feature for the company and these new core values that you need. So that it's very important that you have on mind, because if you doesn't, you need to redefine exactly what the process is. And also you have the another part that is related for the testing, right? Because we need to test exactly in every part of the software development lifecycle the new feature that we will to deliver in every time. So let's move on for the second term, that is BCS. And also you can know this term like a version control system. And this version control system helps to us exactly how to, based on the software development lifecycle, will be define these functionalities for or using the code side, right? That it's not exactly for the development side or the development team, sorry, because when you drop all your values for the code, you also enable infrastructure as code. You also enable automation as code, and security as code, and a lot of new valuables for as code integration that currently you have for your team, right? Then you need to take this on mind, because it doesn't just focus it for development side. You impact more than this. So based on that, we move for the next topic that is related for the BCS and DevOps, right? When we start exactly talk for DevOps side, we have here three biggest part. One that is related for development, another for operation, and also the customer. Will be a little history here are related for the wall of confusion, and this wall of confusion, how to the development part take this bomb that is called code and send to operation team. That is the first part that we need to cover here, because that is exactly how to DevOps start this new change for culture, but exactly how do you change the culture and move a lot of things for as code definition, right? That is the exactly that we need to take a look for that, because as here we saw the development guy, but this could be the QA, or could be the security side, or could be the infrastructure, or could be a networking side. So we need to take this more in a huge scope and also address the new for the how we can operate that using the BCS for the company. That is, with that in mind, we enable this collaboration between teams, right? We exactly start the points for the CI and CD part. When we talk exactly for the CI, is how do we can get this code, any code, for example for Java or Python or Node, and how do we can integrate this for our company values. For example, we take could be a Java application, and we get this code and we download from our version control system. With that, we need to generate an artifact for, and also when we compile and test and generate this artifact, at this we define exactly the end of the CI, the integration for this part, right? That we call it continuous integration. We move very quick to the deployment side. When we start talking about for the deployment, we exactly take a look for how to the application will be deployed on. If this application deployed on Kubernetes, or could be on Docker, or could be in virtual machine, I don't know. Depends exactly what the software needs to will be deployed on, because that depends exactly for the architectural pattern the architecture software takes for generate this. But at this moment, you generate your artifact, and also you will deploy that artifact on the cloud provider, or could be on Prime. That is the focus that we need to define here. With that in mind, we enable a couple of tools behind of, could be Jenkins, could be GitLab CI, GitHub Actions, Azure DevOps, a lot of tools behind of that is an orchestrates movements and tools that you can enable for. But at the end of the day, you need to take this look for the CI and CD part, right? We need to talk about in deep about this, because when we talk about for these new challenges, we need exactly move for the culture and what is the concepts around for the current components that we need to take a look. So we move very quick to the demo site. This is a little disclaimer: please don't execute this on production, because it is a stable code, but you need to define will be another consideration for execute that on your production environment. So we can move very quick here for this code, and also I currently deploy on. You need first, or could be you have enable this new consideration for. We will deploy this code on GitHub, right? This is as part of GitHub configuration. And also we use here GitHub API, and also we built a lot of code behind of for using these APIs and how do we can get advantage from these APIs and how do we enable new features for our companies and also for teams. Because at the end of the day, the objective for us, like DevOps engineers, are related for, hey, how do we can enable more easily for the teams, right? And with that, we return very quick here for the slides. And also we talk about for this consideration about the culture that we talked about for DevOps side, because our part for the one side for the DevOps that we define it for. So for that of mine, we start here, and also I generate a lot of configuration that I drop here related for the README file. Let me share with you this and drop here, and this is pretty awesome for team. So you need to create here in your GitHub an organization. You create a new free organization, and also in my case I call it Conf42 2024 DevOps Jhonnatan, belongs to personal and Speedup members for this. When you create this organization, you need to enable the tokens for this organization, and you need to generate this configuration like a manual site, because this is a very specific configuration that you need to take once a time, and you don't need to execute anytime when you create that organization. So with that in mind, you can follow these steps, and also you can move for the next one. The next one are related for how do you create your personal access token, how do this access token will be defined for one side for the repository permissions, another side for the organization permission. If everything going good, you copy and paste like this little export that you have here. And also when you have here this export, you can play with the APIs behind of. One part for how do you can test that are related for this curl commands here. And also if you copy and paste this on your terminal, you saw something different from 401, that is an authorized return value for the codes from HTTP. And also if return exactly at this moment here, this is a little GQ JSON file, GQ dot, and also we can drop here on in a pretty nice output here. And also if you see that, it's because you can see and the token works properly. And you saw here more cool commands that you can use for test exactly how you can interact with the API for the GitHub side. But it's the same. Yeah, you have here the reference for, and that's it. So that is the first part, the configuration side. Then we need move very quick for this file that is called tool version, and currently use SDF tooling for manage my environments on the folder side. And also this defines exactly what kind of version I'm currently working on every part of the repository. You need to install Python in this version, and Terraform, Pulumi, and OpenTofu. And also if you will generate these configurations like a continuous documentation, you can install Terraform docs and also execute commands for generate auto documentation for the Terraform and OpenTofu implementation. So that is pretty similar to this. Let me share with you. When you saw the auto documentation for Terraform, that is something reference like this: the name, the providers, the modules, the resources, and the inputs and the output generated for the different modules that you currently work and develop for the company, right? That is pretty awesome guide, because when you start for that, you define exactly how to the company generate or start the journey for the continuous documentation. But let's move very quick for a start for one side that is related for OpenTofu. For that part, we have here the main that is for Terraform implementation. Also, we have the provider here that is for the GitHub at this moment in the version 5.0, and also we move here for the variables, and we saw here exactly the Conf42 2024 DevOps, and I wrote a another commands for rewrite these variables, but it's just because you need to exactly drop here what is your current organization that you generated for, and also what is the current user that you generated for interact with these APIs. That's the first configuration. So let's move very quick for this readme on the Terraforms on the OpenTofu, sorry, for this, and also we enable tofu. So we need to move exactly for tofu side or OpenTofu folder, and we can initialize this repository or this configuration that we generated for very quick, because at the end of the day you generate this for I don't know what happened here. Let's present this command because it's not normally, that is the normally output for. So we have saw here exactly the configuration, the initial configuration for, and also we generate here the first template repository. So if we move very quick for the configuration for my organization site, github.com/ that is related for Conf42 Unipong, and we have here our organization, right? We have so here exactly the settings, the people around for this organization, what is the currently teams or repositories or projects, something like that. So when we send this command, we generated exactly the new repository on this organization. So we need to create exactly the first repository that are related for the template repository. This template are defined for the new repositories based on this organization. You could be define this for the current teams, or hey, we need to define what is the template repository for Java or template repository for Docker or for Terraform or something like that, right? Then we can enable and create this first repository here, and also let's move for yes, first repository and not found. And here, yes, peers or repository are not found. Let's send this general for this configuration. Tofu apply, and also if we send this tofu apply, we show here exactly that we create 7 new objects on GitHub that is related, one for the field repository, the second one are related for the main branch defined for this repository, and what is the current branch for this repository, and also we create here the development team, and we enable the repositories for this team, what is the access for this team for these new repositories that could be you generated for, and you add here exactly a new members for this team exactly for at this moment, at this scenario are related for just me, and you define exactly the branch protection. That it's I think the most important here, because when you enable the branch protection for for your repositories, you exactly start with one definition for your teams that is related for what is the key strategy that you will be covered on. Because when you define this strategy on your code, you define exactly what kind of rules this repository will be defined for. So that is pretty important, because at the end of the day, you need to cover exactly how to the teams are enable this feature, and how to these teams are focused on, and how to these teams are exactly sent and generate this. So let me check here exactly what happened with the execution, because it's not normally that it will be wrong. We have our first repository. Okay, I know what happened here. Let me move, because in variables I need to move and rewrite here the here that is Johnny Pong, and also my user is Jhonnatan, right? Sense again and check. And like you see, the time that take this new execution are take more time, so the execution are currently well. So we can wait a couple of minutes here and just refresh here, and you saw exactly the new repository, the templates, and the themes. If you move for the theme side, you create and see here exactly the element arc theme, and at this theme I was added for that. And also for this theme currently have a one repository, and this repository you can drop in. And if you saw here exactly for this repository in the settings side, you saw on branches side the configuration that we defined on. So that it's pretty awesome, because you exactly define these rules at the end of the day very quick, and just take a couple of minutes to deploy that on GitHub, right? I generate the same code for Terraform and also for Pulumi, but let me check with Pulumi, because when you enable this using these IAC tools are very nice. The benefits for each tool when you deploy them. So we can send here tofu destroy, and these repair all changes that we generated on GitHub site. Yes, and move very quick to Pulumi. And if you know Pulumi, or could be doesn't, you have the capabilities here more than IAC tools, because I wrote this configuration on using the Python languages. Let me move for Pulumi, and if we currently want to follow these steps, you can copy and paste here, but the most important here is this install. If you clone this repository, Pulumi install, that are currently take information from your token and download the dependencies and start this communication from the API side. So we can activate that and send the Pulumi GitHub. I currently done that, and also the Pulumi install doing in the same way. You could skip this, that is related for how you can update the requirement files, and you can send here the same attribute like Terraform, right? You can generate this associate for the target, or could be you generate in a general way. So if we saw and we send here this, they will be generate 9 elements on this implementation for the infrastructure side. So they are currently generate for, and here could be the wrong parameters for the tree internally on Pulumi will be wrong, because I execute in a wrong way, but you can follow these steps and you can generate this in a good way. So if we refresh here, move very quick again for the for our organization, we saw exactly the same implementation. So that is the power behind it, because you enable the same capabilities using a lot of IAC tools, and also you can define what is better for you and your team. What is the capacity for your team exactly? You need to take a look for that. Oh, let me, don't forget, destroy here. Let me destroy hyphen s dev that is related for the stack, and I confirm that will be delete all. So we return here for our presentation, and this part of the end of the demo site. Let me share with you a little brief that we did for this summary that we know for today. So we talk in a big scope about the Agile, about DevOps, about what is BCS and sdlc, and what kind of features we can enable using exactly the IAC concepts behind of the DevOps, and how to base it on these tools we can support exactly this part of the culture. That is the biggest challenge here, because it's not easily when you know exactly how the company works, but you don't know how to implement these tools for. And another is the same. If you know a lot of the technical implementation for tools, that it's good, but if you don't know exactly how to your organization generate this, or could be your organization generate a process for something related for the software development life cycle, or new feature or something related for, it's very complicated try to generate these new features based on the components that you currently define it for. So you need to generate this balance for that side. That is the DevOps. We have these new jobs, or could be these roles, are very important currently on the companies, right? So that's for today. Thank you for joining to this session. I'm appreciate you will be contact for me. You can follow me on this social network that you able to check for that, and also here are a couple of references that I taken from. You can follow me. Please go ahead. Thank you for your time, and see you on the next one. See ya.